KTBB Friday morning news time is 7:51. As we do every Friday morning at this time, we check in with KTBB owner, General Manager Paul Gleiser. And you tell me, what's on your mind, sir?
Thank you, Garth. Good morning. We're sponsored by KE Cellars, Tyler's Old World-style boutique winery in the French Quarter on South Broadway across from the mall. We're hearing voices in opposition at youtellmetexas.com. Not everyone agrees with what I say. Some think I'm full of beans. Wonderful. Bring it on. We want to hear your comments, pro and con. This is, after all, a conversation, not a lecture. Just go to youtellmetexas.com, subscribe to our posts so that you can be among the first to know when we posted something new. Share these commentaries with your social network via email, Facebook, and Twitter. Subscribe to the audio podcast via iTunes or watch the video on YouTube. But most of all, post your comments. Tell me I'm right or tell me I couldn't be more wrong. It's your voice that matters to us most. That's why we call it You Tell Me. If you're having trouble imagining the problems created by a government that expands relentlessly into every corner of American life, a government that in trying to do everything succeeds at nothing, you need look no further than the Chevy Volt. If you're not familiar with the Chevy Volt, it is the collaboration of General Motors and the United States government. It is perhaps the most politicized industrial product of the past 100 years. The Chevy Volt was supposed to be a pure plug-in electric vehicle. It was to be the vehicle of the new green 21st century of transportation. When it finally came off the assembly line, it wound up being a very poor hybrid, an electric vehicle with a small gasoline engine. Touted relentlessly by the Obama administration as an example of cooperation between industry and government, and given as one of the justifications for investing $50+ billion in taxpayer money in an otherwise bankrupt GM, the Chevy Volt is supposed to be a giant step on the path to ending America's so-called addiction to oil. Better not cut up the Exxon card just yet. To say that the Chevy Volt is a lemon would be to insult lemon growers. The Chevy Volt would not exist absent taxpayer money. The cost of manufacture is so high that the car cannot sell at a price that anyone will pay. At a sticker price of over $41,000, every Chevy Volt comes with a buyer's subsidy of $7,500 funded by, guess who? You. You own a piece of every Chevy Volt sold, despite the fact that you yourself would likely never buy one. Consumer Reports magazine's review of the Volt is pretty hard to misinterpret. When you're looking at dollars and cents, says the magazine, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. The Volt isn't particularly efficient as an electric vehicle, and it's not particularly good as a gas vehicle either in terms of fuel economy. End quote. The Volt is selling fewer than 700 cars a month. Nobody wants one. What the Volt does well, however, is clearly illustrate why a big activist government is a bad idea. The government is particularly ill-suited to the task of competing in the free market. No matter how much President Obama pushes the Volt as the green energy car of the future, two things will always be true. He will never own one, and he can't make you buy one. Just imagine the same government managing the healthcare industry or managing the food retailing industry. Imagine the government in, say, Commodore computers, remember them, collaborating to create the iPad. The thing would weigh 10 pounds. It would support only a handful of government-created apps instead of the hundreds of thousands that have been created by the far-flung and creative forces of the free market. In the Soviet Union, the big cheeses in the Communist Party rode around in Mercedes that had the hood ornaments and emblems removed. Government bureaucrats and functionaries were consigned to the rattletraps produced by the Soviet-owned car industry. Maybe we can use the Soviet example and put our IRS field agents and EPA inspectors in the fleet of Chevy Volts that no one will ever buy. That's my word. What's yours? Go to youtellmetexas.com and you tell me. Beautiful. That's the only way to describe the weather of the past couple of days. And after snow and bitter cold during Super Bowl week, it's hard to believe that trees are budding and that being outside can be so delightful. Beautiful weather affects your wine choice, and I have a suggestion. If you're inclined towards sweet, chilled, refreshing wines, get yourself to KE Cellars and tell them I told you to try their brand new Kiepersol Estates White Zinfandel. The White Zinfandel is a blush wine. You serve it chilled. It's light and refreshing. It stands alone, and it goes well with light meals anchored by fruits and salads. My wife loves it. She's a very tough critic, and she flat loves it. But don't take my word for it, and don't even take hers. Go to K.E. Cellars and try the Keeper Sol Estates White Zinfandel. You can do that because K.E. Cellars is a working winery with a tasting bar. Try any wine in the collection before you buy it. K.E. Cellars, Tyler's Old World Style Boutique Winery in the French Quarter on South Broadway across from the mall, and online at KECellars.com.